Hey everybody, this is Jane Deuber, founder of Global Experts Accelerator and Smart Biz Quiz. And I'm here with one of my dear, dear friends, Kim Carpenter, founder of World Changing Women. It's an organization that I adore. I'm one of the founding members of this organization, not only because I love what Kim's up to, but I really love what this organization stands for. I asked her to be here today so I could interview her a little bit about not just World Changing Women, but also give a little inside scoop to what's happening at a really cool event that's happening in Austin, Texas, that I'm going to be there for, and I want everybody in my community to know about it. So welcome, Kim. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Jane. It's so awesome to get to chat with you and get to meet your tribe today.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't do this a whole lot. I'm pretty picky about who I bring to my tribe, and you and I have collaborated and been friends for years and years. And you came to me a little bit ago and said you wanted to do this World Changing Women. It's been in your heart actually for years, and I've watched you really birth this organization and bring together a remarkable group of women that I'm really, really proud to be a part of. So, first of all, thanks for having the courage to go for the vision that's been in your heart for so long.
Thank you for that acknowledgement. Yeah, as you know very well, it takes something. Sometimes I call it dancing on the skinny branches, right?
Right. A little courage, a little insanity, all that wrapped into one. Well, yeah. So let's talk. Let's begin with what you believe that World Changing Women stands for, so people who are maybe looking for a community to become a part of, they can learn a little bit about it.
Yeah, great. So I created World Changing Women partly because it was something that I really wanted and needed. I wanted to not only hang out with a group of women that were super passionate about making a positive impact in our world, but with like-minded business and professional women. So World Changing Women is created to be the support ecosystem for women growing businesses that make the world a better place.
Yeah, I mean, even just in the founding members, we've been in sort of that stage where you brought together some founding members, and even just in then, I've made new friends who are doing amazing things, found some clients who just happen to need what it is that we have, and just really feel a part of an organization that it feels different than a lot of the others. And I think it's because you hold a high standard and you want people in there who are really having an impact on the planet. So thanks for that. Yay. So let's dive in. You have been in this industry and you've had lots of successes. You've built a considerable businesses, not only for yourself, but others. And the importance of live events. And so you made a stop, you put your stake in the ground, girlfriend, when you said you wanted to do the first event. It's happening coming up here in November, the first part of November. So why don't you tell them first, make sure they have the dates, tell them a little bit about why you made this decision to have this event.
Yeah, so the event's called Stronger Together, and it's going to be November 1st through 3rd in Austin, Texas, which is my hometown. And I think it's really important, especially in this age where everything is virtual, there's this distance. Even I can see you now and I feel like I'm with you. It's not the same as being in physical presence. And I know so many of us are longing to really come together. And so a live event was really important for me, and I actually want to do several per year moving forward. And I've seen the amazing benefits of having people come together live. I've run live events, for other large coaching businesses, upwards of 200, 300 people at the event. And this one's actually going to be a little different than that. It's going to be quite intimate. There's going to be 40 people. So I wanted everybody to get to know everybody else in the room,
Right.
And it really is going to be more hands-on and co-creative. And what I mean by that is, we're going to be working side by side with people, having very important conversations about what does it mean to be a world-changing woman. And I feel like it's actually up to all of us, though, you and myself and some others are really holding that space, and we will be teaching amazing content. But it's up to all of us as women on this mission to have deeper conversations and to explore what that means, and to really live into this future that's emerging as we're growing into what that takes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this sort of is the era of women. A lot of women around the planet are really taking a stand. And so I know that's part of what we're going to be doing at this event, is really getting clear what is the stance that we're taking and to be able to state that in a group of women who are there to support you. I'm excited about that because we're really birthing a new vision for our two companies. And I'm excited to be able to be in a place where everybody is going to be supportive. I already know that about the women who I know are going to be there. And they're also going to hold me to a whole nother standard. I mean, they're calling me up to play a bigger game. And I think as women, we have to do that. There's that whole, as you climb, you lift other people along with you. And I know that that's going to be the environment that you create. I also know that, when people have so many options, really, especially when it comes to events. And so one of the reasons I wanted you to come on today, Kim, is I want to talk about your matrix. I want to talk about, you and I, I'm a curriculum geek. I love it. And so I've had an opportunity to be with you and help you birth what will be the curriculum over time that's delivered through world-changing women. And what I really, I was really taken back by the breadth of what this matrix, or the curriculum matrix, if we want to call it for right now, and it is really have you got a sense of your finger on the pulse of really all the different elements that we as women need to step into in a really strong way. So can you talk a little bit about the matrix and how that plays not only into World Changing Women, but this event?
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just share, I created a little slide for us. I think I'm a visual person.
Yay.
So it always really helps to see this. So we're calling this the World Changing Women Success Path. And I have put this into a larger matrix so that people can kind of self-identify where they're at, whether they're just getting started and emerging in these realms, or if they're already, have mature businesses, or they feel inside themselves that they've matured in this realm. And, this really comes out of my work in the last 15 years and global travel that I've done all over the world, looking at business and social impact together. So, I've been to India and Bali and Africa, and over and over and over, I've seen the women rising up and becoming entrepreneurs and really stepping into a position of authority and leadership in order, many times because their life's at stake, right? And luckily us here in the Western world, that's, we have clean water, things like that. But there's other things at stake, right? And we want to make a even bigger difference. And so I started looking at, what does it really take to be a world-changing woman? And so we came up with these 7 focus areas. So feminine leadership, emotional resilience, aligned community, because you need to have people both that are working with you, for you, but also your tribe that's aligned around your mission and your movement. Authority positionings, you need to be able to really step into a position of authority to, claim the microphone, as I say, right? To get clarity on your messaging so that you can speak out, making a global impact. And for some people watching this, they might be like, whoa, I'm not making a global impact. But I would invite you to really look at how you are, how you might want to step into that in a bigger way. And a lot of it is around your mindset, right? And Jane, I love, you said to me one time, you're like, well, you could create a business plan for $1 million business, but it's just as easy to do one for a $10 million business and, work towards that, right? So we're going bigger here. We're stretching ourselves to go bigger. And strategic focus, really being strategic and wise about how we are creating what we're creating. And then money mastery, which is something I'm really excited that you're going to be talking about at the event. Because if we're not looking at our money and finances and really getting that honed in and powerful, we're not going to be able to do what we want to do and make as big of an impact as we can make.
Yeah. Well, just as a little side note, I want to hop over to the feminine leadership in a second. But I will say the cool thing about the money master, I've been really kind of thinking about what I want to share on stage at this event around that. And I'm going to pull a training, and it was really impactful for my community that I did a while back. And it really is I'm using the lessons that I learned from my dad. And in my tribe, everybody knows that my dad was my biggest mentor, and he had such a healthy relationship around money. So I got to watch that, and then I got to then take those same thought processes and beliefs around money and put it into the business. And I think that's why we've been able to have 7 business successes and been able to sell, 3 of those businesses, is because my perspective of money comes from a different vantage point than most people. And so I'm super excited about that, because it's a bit of a flipping of the switch around your relationship to money. So that's one of my intentions for what I'm going to be contributing, is if I do my job well, people step out that door, they're going to have a different energy around money and how it shows up in their life and in their business. So that's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. So yeah, I want to talk about feminine leadership specifically. We could, you and I could geek out and dive into any of these. But you mentioned something earlier, the whole idea, if you're going to create a vision and if you're going to create a business plan, you might as well make it for a really big business versus keeping it small in that vision. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because this is where we start to get the balance of the male and the female and the male, the masculine, the feminine. Because, sometimes when we say, let's go for a 7-figure business, when maybe you're at a 6-figure business, it can feel a little masculine and hard driving. And that's what I want to really challenge the status quo, that we can go for the $1 million business and still have it be feminine and a sense of ease and a sense of, a kind of a natural unfolding. It doesn't have to be really hard driving. And we've set some really cool goals for ourselves in 2019 as a company. And what we're doing right now is we're setting ourselves up for the remainder of this year so that when we step into 2019, we can actually achieve those goals that are big, but achieve them with a greater sense of ease. So talk to me about, that's really the first tenet. I love that you put it first. What does it mean to you, Kim?
Well, I just love your example about hard driving versus an unfolding, right? Just that image is so beautiful. And yeah, I put this first for me because I have experienced burning myself out. It's why I went to Bali a year ago. I had adrenal fatigue. I had no passion, no energy for anything. And I had hard driven my business and myself, moving through my dad's passing, not taking breaks, not getting the support that I needed. And so for me, it really is like what I've seen with women, and I've been in dozens of women's groups, is that especially as women, we need to nurture our feminine side. We need to notice when we're pushing too hard, because we can burn ourselves out. And I also know that most of the women that I know, they have multiple jobs because they have a full-time mom job, right? Mm-hmm. And then they have this full-time work job, and then they've got the activities and boards and events and all these other jobs. And so how do we do this in a way that doesn't burn us out, that actually gives us more energy and allows us to accomplish the things we want to accomplish? Because I've also seen in many women's groups that there isn't this ability to actualize and manifest things in reality, which it takes that masculine driver. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance. And I think, I know that's going to be some, roundtable discussions. We're excited to have those kinds of discussions, which will enable us to come together as a group. I think about, if a person's listening to this, Kim, and they're thinking, okay, is this something I want to do? I'm going to, schedule the flight, book the room, be there with us. You kept, by the way, the registration you've kept really, really reasonable, and I really honor that. It's because you want to lower that entry point for people. But, if a person is considering this, what are some takeaways that you're designing or we're designing for them so that they can leave with what?
Yeah, one takeaway is going to be, you'll be clear on your success path and some of the gaps and some of the areas that it might be time for you to lean in and really focus more on that, so you can have an aligned, holistic plan for yourself. So that's really important. And we're going to be touching on some very cool topics like the money mastery. We're going to be touching into how do you build a tribe of raving fans. So I have Marusha Murphy coming to speak about that. We're going to be diving into conversational intelligence. How do you have difficult conversations, whether those are sales conversations or negotiation conversations, or, and it'll spill into your life, just difficult conversations and conflict. And how do we deal with that in ways that are actually that's workable for everybody and empowering? So those are some of the things you'll leave with. And one of the big things I want to say about this, because I think a lot of people go to events and yes, you're going to get takeaways, and yes, you're going to have clarity, and yes, you're going to have a plan. And at this event, you matter. Like, it's us together co-creating this and having these conversations and these roundtable discussions. And all of the speakers are going to be part of those roundtable discussions. So it's all of us together that are actually coming up with even better solutions than maybe one speaker on the stage could give you, because we're bringing that into the whole room and taking that topic and elevating it even more to make it more powerful.
I love that. That's such an intention. I know you're 100% committed to that. I know it's going to happen. And it's different. There is no separation of the people who are on the stage and the people who are in the seats. There's absolutely no separation. We're all the same, and we're going to come together to really get clear, as you said. One of the things I'm super excited about, we designed this exercise that's going to happen. I think it's the morning of the second day, where we're really going to get clear about our strengths. So looking at these 7 elements within the matrix and really finding out, where am I rocking it? Where am I strong? And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to then see other people in the room where their strengths are. So we can get this synergy where maybe there's an area that I need to work in, and it happens to be your strength over there, and we can have these people come together, because what comes easily for me doesn't come necessarily easy for someone else. And so I love the fact that we're having everybody kind of claim their superpower. And so we can match up with other people who have a superpower that would really plus our own, because the whole name of this whole event is Stronger Together. And I think that's at the core of it, is when I have a strength that would supplement or complement something that you're really needing to grow in, it'll happen so much faster. It'll happen with so much more ease and grace when we're able to come together and build off each other's strengths. So I'm really excited about that particular exercise. Awesome.
Me too. We just started having a crazy thunderstorm here, so can you still hear me okay?
I can still hear you. Oh my gosh.
Okay, great.
I wish we don't have them here in Pebble Beach, but I love thunderstorms. That means we're rumbling the earth.
Yeah.
So let's just, if we could kind of round out the interview, what I'd love to ask Kim is, I know, re-entry is a big piece. For when I do events, I'm always really conscious of how we're ending the event, because you're in this little bubble, you're inspired, you're connecting, so many juicy, yummy things happen at an event. And talk a little bit about how we're equipping them for re-entry when they go back into their normal lives.
Yes, and this was something that actually came out of our World Changing Women community. They said, when you do this event, can you please really help us come back into our lives and into our work, knowing exactly what to do, when to do it, with a plan and with clarity. And so you're not just like filled up with all this stuff and then dropped. And then, I know I've left events with the workbook and never opened it again. So we're creating this in a way that it's going to be immediately applicable to your work and your business, and you will have steps and clarity on that, knowing what to do when you re-enter.
Yeah, and I think also just the idea that it's a continuing community, right? There's the online community. You offer all those great resources that happen every single month. I know I've really benefited from the calls that I've been on and the dialogues that I've had with other members. So, I think one part of that reentry is you won't be going home alone. You go back and still keep this community with you.
That's right.
Is really, really important.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be there, you guys. Who wants to come? It's a limited number, and so I'm sending this message out to just just a small portion of my list, actually. It's those of you who are more engaged, you understand what we're about, and you know that I'm not going to be a part of anything that I really don't believe delivers on the promise. And so if you're interested, Kim, what do they do if they're interested? Can you give them the next steps?
Yeah, so you want to go to worldchangingwomen.live. So .live is the URL, and you can claim your ticket right there and get your hotel and airfare booked if you're not local. All of the information is right there on that page.
Yeah, cool. I love it. Well, so there you have it, Kim. As always, I love collaborating with you. I'm so grateful that I get an opportunity to train from stage and share what I don't normally share, right? It's a little outside of my normal trainings that I do, but I'm just looking forward to it. And I'm just really looking forward to making new connections and really using our gifts, those people that you're asking to be there to share, using our gifts to have a huge impact, because it is true. Together we are much stronger. So thanks for your time, sweetie.
Thank you. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.